Hello there, welcome to Parsonic Studio, and today we're going to be unveiling a new product from PreSonus. It's a mic set specifically intended for drums. It's called the DM-7, and what I'm really interested to find out is how good it is at the price point that they are releasing it at, which is $299. That's barely, not even $50 a mic. So I'm really interested to see how good they are going to be. Going to introduce my trusty assistant here, Noah, and we'll be working together on this. Here it is, DM-7 drum mic set. And it's in a rather nice suitcase by the looks of it. It's very nice packaging. So this mic is marked BD1, which I would imagine stands for bass drums, so that's where we'll put it. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the same type, which is called the ST4. And so we'll have to make the decision how we would distribute these 4 similar mics, whether we'll put one on the hi-hat, one on the snare, and 2 tom-toms. I think that's probably the best combination. If we had 3 tom-toms, we'd be in a little bit of trouble. And we have 2 of these OH2, presumably standing for overhead, so that's what we'll use them for. And very reminiscent of a Neumann KM84 in its appearance. My understanding is that the overhead mics are condensers and everything else is dynamic, but I'll have to confirm that. Okay, BD1 kick drum microphone, ST4 snare tom microphone, OH2 small diaphragm condenser mic, rim mounts for ST4. There's probably these things here. Let's clip onto the rim by the looks of it. So we'll go and get them plugged in, see how they sound.
Yeah, let's get them set up.
Okay, well, what we're going to need, as well as these mics, of course, is a whole load of stands, which might be a significant cost against the ridiculously cheap price of the microphones. But anyway, we're going to put everything on stands, which we already have here. That's the first of the dynamics, which we'll put on the hi-hat, and but we'll just get everything on stands to start with. Okay, that's the first one. And the next one we'll put on the hi-hat. So for the 2 remaining mics in this configuration, the one that there are 4 of, we're going to use 2 of those to clip onto the toms. So, well, not having read the instructions of how this clip works, it looks like maybe this goes under the lip of the rim of the drum, and then we push upwards. Yeah, that would appear how it works. I've never seen a clip quite like that before. That we can adjust the height like so with this knurled screw right here. So I'm going to put it at its maximum height. This one will be the floor tom. So again, this hook part will fit onto the underside of the rim, and then I'm going to push it upwards until it clicks. There we go. And again, we'll adjust the distance away from the drum with this adjustment here, but it's actually already at its most distant point, so that's going to be fine. All right, well, here we go with the kick drum mic, which we'll put on this low stand here. Okay, finally we get to the overheads. These are a pair of condenser mics, and I'm going to mount this on these big hefty stands for overheads is because I normally use a pair of ribbon mics made by Coles, the 4038, and they are very heavy, so they need a good deal of counterbalancing like this. But these mics are very light, so we won't be needing that counterbalancing particularly. This is a condenser mic, unidirectional cardioid, and I would normally use a figure 8 mic for overheads. But we'll see how this sounds. I'm going to put it roughly my eye height and favouring the ride cymbal here directly below it. Okay, for the hi-hat mic, one trick I've used for years is to actually point it away, point it at the hi-hat but away from the snare, because that's always a separation issue between snare and hi-hat. One other thing to add is never put a mic there, because all you're going to get is just an escape of air every time the hi-hat opens and closes, and it's just going to go. So we don't want that. So there's the hi-hat mic pointing away from the snare, but it's still going to pick up the sound of the hi-hat cymbals perfectly well. Finally, the snare drum. And the snare, I'm going to go over the kick drum. I would normally maybe come in from this side in other circumstances, but this is going to work fine. And this pointing diagonally at the drum, probably about 3 inches from the skin. It's important when recording anything, especially drums, that you actually get an impression of what they sound like in the room before you hear the mics themselves in the control room. So Noah's all set up here, all the mics are in place, and I'm just going to get an impression of what the kit is sounding like in the room. So what we got here are the 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, kick, snare, hat, toms, and overheads. The overheads, you will notice, have red lights on, which means that they're running on phantom power because they are condenser mics. Everything else is dynamic. So I'm going to listen to the overheads first. Now the kick. Pretty good. Now the snare. Everything is completely flat so far. I'm going to be very tempted to put some top end on that snare, but we'll just check that everything else is working first. Noah, could I get kick, snare, and hi-hat, please? There's the hi-hat. Panned all the way to the right. First reaction is it's pretty damn good. I mean,
the kick drum sounded good in the headphones.
Yeah. So we're going to play back the sequence that Noah just recorded, and we can listen to each drum separately. It's coming straight off Pro Tools. So starting with the kick drum, here we go. That's pretty solid. The snare, I did end up EQing, not as much as we have sometimes.
That sounds great.
There's the toms.
Pretty good low end. That's usually the trouble with getting good tom sounds.
And here's the overhead. Somewhat loud.
Yeah, they sound good.
Very definitely stereo.
Yeah, for sure. Usually the trouble is getting overheads that don't sound harsh.
Well, that's pretty impressive. The only EQ that I really felt was necessary was for the snare, but snare mics always need EQ, always need top end. But I'm impressed. Okay, well, on the last pass that Noah was out there for, we recorded not only the PreSonus drums, and in particularly the kick drum and the snare mics that come with the kit, but we also put my normal choice of mics for kick drum and snare. The kick drum choice is almost invariably the AKG D112, sorry, and on snare, everybody's favorite, the Shure 57. They are different, there's no question, and I'm going to show you what the differences are, but I think both Noah and I are impressed with the quality of this mic, especially for the price. I mean, it's almost unbelievable that these mics are selling at this 7 for $299. Amazing. Anyway, here's the comparison. Here's the PreSonus kick drum. It's got a lovely round bottom end to it.
Yeah, that sounds great. You really hear the resonance of the drum, which is really nice.
And normally, of course, I would be recording a kick drum with a sub kick as well, so we can get extreme bottom end. But this is giving us more than, as you will hear, the D112 is giving us.
Oh wow,
it's just not as good.
Yeah, it's got attack, but it's kind of a little honky sounding. It's a little mid-range thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely got more top end, but I don't think we'd even really use that. Oh yeah, that sounds great. Listen to that beef.
Mm.
Wow. Big difference.
Okay, let's move on to the snare. Here's the PreSonus snare. Completely flat. When we had the full kit going, I had some EQ on the snare, but that's flat, and it's pretty satisfying.
Sounds really good.
Without EQ. And here's my normal choice for snare drum, which is a good old Shure 57.
Oh wow.
Which is kind of clanky by comparison.
Yeah, it's definitely got more high end. It's missing all that body and all that weight that the PreSonus actually picks up really nicely. And that's one thing about this drum, it's got so much low end. And it seems like the PreSonus really picked that up nicely. Fantastic.
So I'm impressed, I have to say. The PreSonus kit, DM-7 kit, incredible value for money, and I might even consider using their kick and snare mics for my next session. I think they're really good. Well, our thanks to PreSonus for the loan of that amazing set of microphones. The DM-7 at an unbelievable price of $299. Both Noah and I were pretty impressed.
Extremely impressed.
And I fully expected that my normal choice of snare mic, a 57 and the AKG D112 on kick drum, I think the PreSonus mics really almost walked all over them.
I agree.
Really quite impressed.
Totally.
Of course, you need stands and you need cables to plug them in, but I think it's an incredibly valuable set of drum mics.
Absolutely
amazing. And thanks for watching. If you're on the SSR course, thanks for joining us today, and see you very soon.